A civil union is a legally recognized arrangement similar to marriage, created primarily as a means to provide recognition in law for same-sex couples. Civil unions grant most or all of the rights of marriage except the title itself. Denmark was the first country to legalize civil unions in 1989. However, most other developed democracies did not begin establishing civil unions until the 1990s or early 2000s, often developing them from less formal domestic partnerships, which grant only some of the rights of marriage. In the majority of countries that established these unions in laws, they have since been either supplemented or replaced by same-sex marriage. Civil unions are viewed by LGBT rights campaigners as a first step towards establishing same-sex marriage, as civil unions are viewed by supporters of LGBT rights as a separate but equal, or second-class status. While civil unions are often established for both opposite-sex couples and same-sex couples, in a number of countries they are available to same-sex couples only. Beginning with Denmark in 1989, civil unions under one name or another have been established by law in several, mostly developed, countries in order to provide legal recognition of relationships formed by unmarried same-sex couples and to afford them rights, benefits, tax breaks, and responsibilities similar or identical to those of legally married couples. In Brazil, civil unions were first created for opposite-sex couples in 2002, and then expanded to include same-sex couples through a Supreme Court ruling in 2011. Many jurisdictions with civil unions recognize foreign unions if those are essentially equivalent to their own. For example, the United Kingdom lists equivalent unions in the Civil Partnership Act 2004 Schedule 20. The marriages of same-sex couples performed abroad may be recognized as civil unions in jurisdictions that only have the latter. The terms used to designate civil unions are not standardized, and vary widely from country to country. Government-sanctioned relationships that may be similar or equivalent to civil unions include civil partnerships, registered partnerships, domestic partnerships, significant relationships, reciprocal beneficiary relationships, common law marriage, adult interdependent relationships, life partnerships, stable unions, civil solidarity pacts, and so on. The exact level of rights, benefits, obligations, and responsibilities also varies, depending on the laws of a particular country. Some jurisdictions allow same-sex couples to adopt, while others forbid them to do so, or allow adoption only in specified circumstances. As used in the United States, beginning with the state of Vermont in 2000, the term civil union has connoted a status equivalent to marriage for same-sex couples. Domestic partnership, offered by some states, counties, cities, and employers since as early as 1985, has generally connoted a lesser status with fewer benefits. However, the legislatures of the West Coast states of California, Oregon and Washington have preferred the term domestic partnership for enactments similar or equivalent to civil union laws in East Coast states. Civil unions are not seen as a replacement for marriage by many in the LGBT community. Marriage in the United States is a civil union. But a civil union, as it has come to be called, is not marriage, said Evan Wolfson of Freedom to Marry. Quote, It is a proposed hypothetical legal mechanism, since it doesn't exist in most places, to give some of the protections but also withhold something precious from gay people. There's no good reason to do that. However, some opponents of same-sex marriage claim that civil unions rob marriage of its unique status. Randy Thomas Song, executive director of the Campaign for California Families, calls civil unions homosexual marriage by another name, and contends that civil unions provide same-sex couples all the rights of marriage available under state law. The California Supreme Court, in the In Re Marriage Cases decision, noted 9 differences in state law. Civil unions are commonly criticized as being separate but equal. Critics say they segregate same-sex couples by forcing them to use a separate institution. Supporters of same-sex marriage contend that treating same-sex couples differently from other couples under the law allows for inferior treatment, and that if civil unions were the same as marriage, there would be no reason for 2 separate laws. A New Jersey commission which reviewed the state civil union law reported that the law invites and encourages unequal treatment of same-sex couples and their children. Some have suggested that creating civil unions which are open to opposite-sex couples would avoid the accusations of apartheid. These have still been criticized as being separate but equal by former New Zealand MP and feminist Marilyn Waring, as same-sex couples remain excluded from the right to marry. Proponents of civil unions say that they